most powerful responses you can give. Silence is not an absence. It is a presence. It is not a lack of response. It is a choice, and when used correctly, it speaks louder than any words ever could. The power of real-life examples of silent strength. Saying nothing. Think about the last time someone tried to provoke you. Maybe they wanted a reaction, an argument, or an emotional response. They were expecting you to defend yourself, to fight, to engage in the battle they created. But what happens when you refuse to play their game? Silence leaves them with their own words. It forces them to sit with what they've said or done. It robs them of the reaction they were hoping for. That is power. You see, people expect noise, they expect retaliation, they expect explanations, but when you choose silence, you break the cycle, you shift the power dynamic, you turn their words back on them. Let them feel the weight of their own actions. Not every situation requires your voice, since the best thing you can do is step back and say nothing at all. When someone disrespects you, silence shows them you will not entertain their behavior. When someone spreads lies about you, silence forces them to sit with their own falsehoods. When someone tries to argue for the sake of conflict, silence denies them the fight they crave. When someone exits your life, silence speaks volumes about your self-worth. Silence holds more weight than words. Silence is uncomfortable. It creates space for reflection, for tension, for realization. When you remove your words, people are left with their own thoughts they start to question, to analyze, to feel the absence of your presence. This is why silence is so effective. It forces people to confront reality without your interference. You don't have to prove your point. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to justify your decisions. Your silence is enough. When to use silence as your power. There are key moments when silence is the best response. When you're being provoked. Not everyone deserves a reaction. Some people only want to steal peace. Don't let them. When someone won't listen, if they refuse to hear you, let them hear their own voice. Instead, when you've already said enough, repeating yourself doesn't make people understand. It just drains you. When someone exits your life, no response is the best response to those who took you for granted. When your peace is more important than their opinion, not everything requires your energy. Protect. Final message. Mastering the power of silence. It lets silence speak for you. The strongest people are not the ones who yell the loudest, argue the longest, or fight for validation. The strongest people are the ones who know when to walk away, when to disengage, and when to let their silence do the talking. So the next time you feel the urge to defend, explain, or react, ask yourself, does this deserve my energy? Or will my silence say everything that needs to be said? Because at the end of the day, words can be debated, twisted, ignored, but silence is undeniable in a world that demands reactions, explanations, and constant engagement. Choosing silence is an act of power. Not every battle needs to be fought. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not every situation deserves your energy. The strongest people are not those who argue the loudest, but those who know when to walk away. Growth happens in the quiet. Transformation happens in the space you create. When you stop explaining yourself to those who refuse to listen, your energy is sacred. Protect it. Your presence is valuable. Reserve it for those who honor it. Your peace is priceless. Never trade it for temporary validation. So, as you move forward, remember this: boundaries over battle. Not everything deserves a response. Growth in the quiet. Some of your biggest transformations will happen in solitude. Not everyone deserves access. Protect your energy like the rare, powerful force it is. Silence speaks louder. When words fail, let your absence do the talking. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to explain why you are protecting your peace. You don't need to respond to every voice demanding your attention, because at the end of the 25 conclusion, call to action. Protect your peace day. The loudest statement you can make is walking away in silence, knowing your worth, and refusing to engage in anything that drains your soul. Why silence is power. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where words felt useless, where explaining, defending, or proving your point only made things worse? Silence is often seen as weakness, as if staying quiet means surrendering. But I want you to hear this loud and clear: silence is a decision, a powerful intentional choice. Cutting contact isn't about anger. It's not about playing games. It's about understanding something fundamental. Not everyone deserves access to you. Some people thrive on your reaction. They push buttons, stir chaos, and live for your energy. When you stop giving them that, you take back control. Silence isn't just the absence of noise. It's the space where healing happens. It's in the quiet that we finally hear what we need, our own voice. When you step away from toxic conversations, draining relationships, and endless cycles of frustration, you may make room for something better. Peace. And will say, just talk it out. But not every relationship is meant to be repaired. Some bridges need to burn for you to build something stronger. You don't have to explain why you're walking away. You don't owe anyone closure. Your silence is enough. Let them wonder, let them question, let them feel your absence. But most importantly, let yourself feel free. Because the moment you stop explaining yourself to those who will never understand, you reclaim your power. We live in a world that glorifies noise. We are villains in to speak up, fight back, prove ourselves, and always have the last word. We believe that if we're silent, we are losing, that if we don't defend our position, we are weak. But that's a lie. True strength is not in the argument, it's in the decision to walk away from one's silence. Is often misunderstood. People mistake it for avoidance, cowardice, or indifference. But real silence, the kind that comes from wisdom, is a sign of power, not weakness. It takes strength to hold your tongue when someone is provoking you. It takes discipline to step away from toxic conversations instead of engaging in endless debates. It takes courage to refuse to explain yourself when you know your truth speaks louder than any words. Boundaries over battles. Choosing peace over conflict. Ever could think about the people who are always reacting, always engaging in battles, always proving a point. They exhaust themselves. They waste energy trying to change minds that are already made up. But those who know their worth, who understand their value, they don't need to announce it. They don't need to explain or justify themselves to people who refuse to listen. Silence isn't just the absence of words. It's the presence of self-control. It's the ability to choose where you invest your energy and who gets a response from you. When you master that, you become unstoppable. There is a reason why the most powerful people in the world do not respond to every insult, every rumor, every challenge. They know that not every battle is worth fighting. They know that true influence comes from action, not argument. They understand that silence forces people to reflect. It makes them uncomfortable. It makes them question. And in that silence, a message is sent louder than any words ever could. So the next time someone tries to pull you into a fight, asks for explanations they don't deserve, or challenges your peace, ask yourself, this is my response worth my energy, or will my silence say everything that needs to be said? Because silence is not weakness, silence is strength. There comes a time in life when you realize that not every argument deserves your response. Not every fight is worth your energy. Not every person deserves access to your peace. That moment when you decide to walk away from the chaos instead of engaging in it is when you understand the true power of boundaries. We've been conditioned to believe that fighting back is strength, that explaining ourselves, proving our worth, and justifying our choices is necessary. But in reality, the strongest people are not the ones who fight the most battles. They're the ones who know when to walk away. The difference between boundaries and battles, a battle is an endless cycle of conflict. It's trying to prove yourself to people who will never understand you. It's defending your choices to those who don't respect them. It's engaging in conversations that drain you rather than uplift you. A boundary, on the other hand, is a decision. It's saying, I do not owe you my time, my energy, or my explanation. A boundary is choosing yourself over the exhaustion of unnecessary battles. It is recognizing that peace is more valuable than proving a point. Think about it. How many times have you gone back, forth in a conversation trying to make someone see your perspective, only to leave frustrated, depleted, unheard? How many times have you tried to keep a relationship alive that was only harming you? How many times have you felt growth happens in the quiet? Transformation in stillness, obligated to engage with people who make you feel small. Not every battle is yours to fight. There are people who thrive on conflict. They seek reactions, they push buttons, they want to pull you into their negativity because it's where they feel most powerful. And if you engage, you give them exactly what they want. But here's the truth, you do not owe anyone a fight. You do not have to respond just because someone is demanding a reaction. You do not have to prove yourself to people who have already made up their minds about you. Walking away is not losing, it is winning in the most powerful way possible. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect. Boundaries are not about being rude or cutting people off out of anger. They are about protecting your mental, emotional health. They are about choosing peace over exhaustion. They are about saying, I am no longer available for this. When you stop engaging in battles that drain you, something incredible happens. You gain clarity. You begin to see who truly respects you. You start to feel lighter, freer. Most importantly, you take back control of your own energy. The strongest people are not the loudest in the room. They are the ones who know when to stay silent, when to walk away, and when to choose their peace over pointless battles. So the next time someone tries to pull you into a fight, remember this: your peace is worth more than their chaos. Choose boundaries over battles every single time. We live in a world that equates busyness with success. We're taught that movement means progress, that noise means importance, and that being constantly engaged means we are on the right path. But real growth, the kind that changes your life, doesn't happen in the middle of chaos. It happens in the quiet. Think about a seed planted deep in the soil. Before it ever breaks through the surface, before anyone sees its progress, it is growing in the dark. It is gathering strength, developing roots, and preparing itself for the moment it will rise. That's how we grow too. Silence is where you hear yourself. When you remove distractions, step away from toxic conversations, stop explaining yourself to people who don't understand you, something incredible happens. You finally hear your own voice. We spend so much time listening to others, friends, family, society, social media, telling us who we should be, what we should do, and how we should feel. But in the quiet, all of that fades away. In the quiet, you get to ask yourself, what do I actually want? What makes me happy? What am I holding on to that I need to let go of? This is why so many people are afraid of silence. It forces them to face themselves. It forces them to sit with their emotions, their thoughts, their fears, and their truth. But that's exactly where transformation begins. Growth requires stillness. There's a reason why some of the greatest breakthroughs in life come during not everyone deserves access. Protecting your energy, moments of solitude, the biggest decisions, the deepest healing, the most profound realizations, they don't happen when we are distracted. They happen when we are still, when you take time away from them.